In recent years, heat waves have killed more people than any other major weather event. Just last week, scorching temperatures claimed lives in India and Pakistan. And with more of such extreme weather conditions expected, countries are trying to better understand heat and find ways to cool their cities down. As Clara Lee finds out, Singapore might have the blueprint.
School closures, widespread hospitalizations, and in some cases, deaths. A heat wave spreading across part of Asia has been dubbed one of the most extreme weather events in history, with temperatures climbing past 50 degrees Celsius in some places. Simply walking outside can be dangerous. Cities where more people live have been getting hotter than rural areas.
Why are they getting so warm? Well, that's because of something called the urban heat island effect. When buildings sprout up in cities, they're often densely packed, and the limited spaces in between these structures form so-called urban canyons that trap heat and limit airflow. On top of that, the asphalt and concrete in streets and roads absorb and store more heat compared to natural ground cover, raising temperatures further. Now, under direct sunlight, these surfaces can reach as high as 82 degrees Celsius, which means you can literally cook an egg on the pavement. And as it gets hotter, people start cranking up their air conditioners or choose to drive instead of walk. That means more greenhouse gases that accelerate global warming, making future heat waves even more likely. And this makes everyone more AC reliant, creating a vicious cycle. So now imagine a dome enclosing the city, all the emissions, all of the heat, and no relief, which creates what's commonly known as the urban heat island effect. So how to fix this? Better planning.
According to a study last year, this is one of the hottest spots in Singapore. Thermal imaging helps show what people feel. The neighborhood of Telok Ayer is full of shophouses that have dark terracotta rooftops, which can reach high temperatures due to solar radiation. Parked cars that expel heat are also glowing red. On the other hand, this is the coolest spot in the country. That's thanks to all the surrounding blues and greens. 88% of Upper Piers Reservoir is made up of water. The remaining 12% is vegetation. A sustainable development consultancy says laying out such cooling elements throughout cities may be the answer to mitigating the urban heat island effect.
We can create surfaces that allow sort of water, heat to be absorbed. That makes a big difference. And then reducing our heat, so reducing the amount that we are using sort of energy in buildings, transport, all of those things. And then the other thing is the actual buildings themselves. So if we create, design our city so that we have an orientation to increase airflow, to increase shade, all of that builds up and helps to reduce urban heat.
It's already happening here in central Singapore. Gardens by the Bay occupies more than 100 hectares of land. The trees and foliage here serve as a natural AC unit. Structures are varied in height, making it easier to catch the sea breeze and channel it to the street level. 23 buildings here also share an interconnected cooling system, keeping the amount of waste heat expelled and their bills lower. Urban planners have also applied such strategies to residential neighborhoods in Singapore. Apartment buildings are brushed over with light-colored paint, which absorbs less heat, while roof gardens and ponds help to cool them down naturally. Of course, other places might not be able to replicate this exactly.
It isn't as easy for other cities, and I do think that this is where the public-private sort of partnership model comes into play, because the developers in cities, the institutions in cities, heat is going to affect them as well, and I think that they need to also invest and work with city governments to tackle the problem. And I think that's where you can get the funding and incentivize people to really make change. So it's a challenge, but there are solutions out there.
The bottom line is finding something that works. After all, every city is different. But many experts agree that as countries mull over the expense of investing in urban heat planning, it's also important they weigh the cost of taking no action at all. Clara Lee, CNA, Singapore.